I understand who my avatar is. His name's Corey. It's a guy. He's a real estate investor. He hosts masterminds. He easily grosses well over $1 million. So my perfect avatar, the person that I want to serve, is a business owner who is a podcaster. A business owner who's a podcaster. Of course, yes, I do have two avatars. I've got a primary and a secondary. The primary one has been doing it for a while. Corey had been doing it for 4 years before I ever started working with him. He became our very first client at Grow Your Show back in 2019. So several years ago. So I reached out to my perfect person and I started with him first. And I said, hey, can we offload all the stuff for you? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, hey, how do we get in front of more listeners? And I said, that's perfect. You've been running this for years, Corey. You've been running it, and you don't have a strong listener base. And this is what we can do with paid ads, with Facebook ads, emailing the right people, doing private message campaigns. This is what we can do, Corey, to get your podcast from having, maybe just a couple thousand people listening, or downloads for a whole month, I should say, to 30,000 downloads per month. Now, in his case, in any case, it's not the exact number of downloads that matters, right? It's the listeners who keep coming back, because if you only get the download, then it's going to work against you and you're going to get shadow banned. But if you're triggering the right algorithms, basically, if you have people that are actually staying with your podcast, in Corey's place, what we needed to do was get in front of the right people and have him having the right message. And so I've known this for so many years. I helped Corey do that, and he did get to 30,000 downloads per month. And prior to that, I was messing up. I was beating my head against a wall. And you might be, my perfect avatar as well. You might be a coach, a consultant. You might be pulling in great money. You're successful with what you're doing, but you're not sure how to get the podcast going. You might be my primary avatar, like Corey. And with him, I needed to figure out how do I get in front of him? What message does he need to do? And I need to make sure that all of my content answers his questions, his most common question. And this is where I messed up. This is going to be a shortish episode, but there's going to be a lot. It's just packed full of content that you need to be able to make sure you're serving the right avatar. And it has a couple of stories to help you understand how to use this in your own podcast, in your own business, for example. So what I knew was who my perfect avatar was. It was Corey. What I knew was how to help him. And then I went and had a whole bunch of episodes that I got mostly good feedback. There was a few people who are like, no, that's not perfect for your avatar. And you're right. If you heard all the biohacking episodes, there was just a small handful of them, but I did those for the solo episodes because I know that some of those things have benefited me as a human, as a person, as a business person. It's helped me sleep better. It's helped me approach my podcast with more energy, etc. So I know that those biohacks are beneficial to really anybody, and certainly beneficial to you. However, when I think about it, is that what you are coming for? Is that the reason that you're listening to this podcast? Is that the reason Corey listened to the podcast? No. If I'm being completely honest, you didn't come here to learn how red light could support you. You didn't come here to learn how ice baths could make you a better podcaster. Like, although they do help, that wasn't the real reason for you to come to this podcast. You could have easily gone to a biohacking podcast to learn about biohacking if that's what you wanted. You could have easily went and did a Google search or a YouTube search or a podcast search on red light therapy or sunlight or so much, walking, getting your steps, moving your body. If that's what you were looking for, you can already find that. And so where did I make a mistake is I knew that it was beneficial. Yes, certainly. I knew that it was beneficial. I knew that it could help. And it's something that I'm passionate about, but it takes me off the train tracks. The train tracks are there to hold the entire train to get to the place where it's supposed to go, where it wants to go, where it needs to go. And when we derail the train, accidents can happen. We can lose listener base. We can offend people. We can, people can say, you know what? A lot of Adam's content is for me. A lot of this is for me, but I didn't need to know anything about heat exposure. I'm already doing that. If I wanted heat exposure, I could have gone somewhere else to get that. I'm coming here to be specific about the content. And so that just goes to show that I took my eye off the ball on the podcast and I started adding value to my person, but not the value that Corey or you specifically wanted or was coming here for.